to this great occasion the governor of the great state of North Carolina, Mr. Patrick McCrory. Welcome.
Thank you all very much. Please. I was honored to be mayor for 14 years of a suburb of Belmont. You know, this is the best of America right here in Belmont. This is the best of North Carolina right here. And you know, when that train came through and the beautiful high school choir was singing, it made it even better. That just, it sent chills down my body going, this, I just turned to the former mayor and I said, this is incredible. Didn't y'all feel the same thing? A beautiful day on Main Street. I came here for several reasons. The first reason is we can never stop appreciating our veterans and recognizing our freedom. You see, I grew up in Jamestown, North Carolina, right outside of High Point in Greensboro, during the Vietnam era. I was in junior high and high school during most of Vietnam. And my cousin, Paul Thorne, from Seattle, Washington, my first cousin, came home from Vietnam through Camp Lejeune. And he came to visit us upon returning home to our home in Jamestown. And I noticed he did not get a warm welcome home, either here in North Carolina, frankly, or especially when he back home to Seattle, Washington. The Vietnam veteran was not appreciated. They were often not respected. And many times they weren't given the statues and parades that other veterans have gotten, very similar to many Korean War veterans. And I swore to myself from there on out, any future wars, whatever role I have in life, we're gonna appreciate the veteran, wherever they're coming from. And we're gonna give them a warm welcome. And we're gonna always let the next generation know, and these young kids here know, that your freedom came with sacrifice. And a lot of people sacrifice, not only the veteran, but their families. In fact, as I'm going to do, and I know this is to recognize the greatest generation, but while I'm here, I want the Vietnam veteran to stand up, because many times you did not have this Main Street celebration. If any of the Vietnam veterans would stand up or raise their hand, they deserve a round of applause. God bless you. God bless you all, and the Korean veteran, and all the veterans. I could list all of them, but the Vietnam veteran is special in my heart. I also want to thank some members of my state legislature that are here, that we've made a priority to recognize the veteran. We've done some small things, like from now on, if you go get your driver's license in North Carolina, and you bring your papers proving that you're a veteran, you'll never have to pull those papers out again in North Carolina, because we're going to have a veteran designee on every driver's license in North Carolina. So when you go get your driver's license again, bring your papers, and you'll never have to pull those papers out again to get special discounts and benefits that veterans so rightfully deserve. I'd like to also thank members of my state legislature for supporting efforts for those members of the military that are returning home as we speak from Afghanistan and Iraq. We're now going to be offering those veterans in-state tuition for our universities and our community college, so they can get jobs and education. Second reason I'm here is I'm on Main Street. And this is Main Streets of North Carolina is what made North Carolina great. And I'm not just talking Main Streets of Charlotte or Raleigh or Durham or Asheville. I'm talking about Main Streets of Belmont and the great towns we have here in Gaston County, and the great mayors that we have here in Gaston. So those are the main streets that build community. And I just want to say that this monument belongs on Main Street. And I just want to congratulate the leaders who, back in 1946, dedicated this monument by some designers who the original monument was designed by the designers who also designed the Doughboy monuments throughout this country for the World War I veteran. My granddad was a World War I veteran stationed at Camp Green in Charlotte, North Carolina. Isn't that amazing? Just my granddad was a World War I veteran, and I met him. And he came to Charlotte, back to Charlotte from Milwaukee, Wisconsin when he was 91 years old, and I just moved to Charlotte. He told me the story about he was standing in line at Camp Green in Charlotte, North Carolina, waiting to get his orders before he was sent over to France, where he saw terrible, terrible action, tough action. And he was standing in line, and the Army sergeant said, "What do you do?" And he said, "I'm a pharmacist." Well, the Army sergeant didn't know how to spell pharmacist, so he put down farmer. And he made my granddad, Walter McCrory, in charge of the horses at Camp Green. In fact, if you ever go down Wilson Boulevard, heading into Charlotte, the old Wilson Boulevard, cross the intersection of Wilson Boulevard and Remount Road. The reason it's called Remount Road is that's the soldiers at Camp Green had to remount their horses on that side of Remount Road. You didn't know that, did you? History stands still, but it still impacts us in the future. By the way, my granddad's horses all got shelled and died over in France, and they made him a medic because he was a pharmacist. The second, this statue, there are a lot of people that have impacted this statue for generations. People gave over $20,000 to build the first statue, or I'm sorry, $3,000 to build the first statue here. It was erected at Belmont Middle School, Belmont High School at the time. And the organizer, Paul Neal, said on the stage, "We remember those who topped the windswept heights by a plane, those who went down in the sea of ships, those who defended lonely atolls, those who pierced unknown jungles, those who gave their lives that we might still enjoy the American way of life in Belmont, North Carolina." Things haven't changed, have they? Those people still letting us enjoy the American way of life right here in Belmont generation. They're just younger now. Several years ago, the statue was damaged and needed $30,000 to repair. The repairs were made, and Legionnaires, thank you, raised an additional $3,000 to replace the original gun that had been stolen in the 1950s and never replaced on this statue that we're going to be unveiling. In July 2011, sadly, the statue was vandalized by some young teens. They cut the head off and threw it into Dutchman Creek. And divers from our Gastonia Police Department, thank you Gastonia, recovered the head, which was badly damaged. The restoration by this conservation solution cost over $30,000. Funding came from insurance and donations. It came from this community. The casting of the replacement head was done. Touch-up and painting was done. And now today, it's back where it belongs, right here in Main Street. Let's give a round of applause for all those generations that made this happen. Now let me